Yo, yo, yo. Welcome, everybody, to the Platts Picks Pod. I'm your host, Smitty. Of course, this couldn't be the Platts Picks Pod without Platt. What's going on, Ryan?
What's going on, man? I mean, it was a pretty eventful weekend.
That's one way to put it. I'm on a cold streak, but here's what I'll say. It's a clean slate. We're 0-0. We're 0-0 today. Yesterday, I just want to talk about this real quick. I know Pirates fans will appreciate this. I'm always a defender of Garrett Cole. However, yesterday he screwed me. I had Yankees Moneyline and Garrett Cole over 6.5 strikeouts.
Jesus.
Okay. The dude pitched 2 innings. So that obviously did not work. However, we normally, if you watch the show, we normally only talk about college football in the NFL slate. I do got to say, I do have some action on tonight's wild card game as well. We actually got different bets here, so this is going to be interesting. What I do like about this is one of us is going to be able to talk about a win. So I got Dodgers money line, Corey Seager over half an RBI, so I'm expecting him to drive in 1 run, and Justin Turner over half of a hit. Just a little $10 bet there, win 41.60 if it happens. I thought that was relatively safe. I mean, the Dodgers are favorited in this game. I don't think that – listen, all the respect in the world to Adam Wainwright, but Max Scherzer's an absolute nutcase. We know that. I know I will say he has given up 10 runs in his last 10 innings, so that is something to watch. The Cardinals were the hottest team in baseball coming into the playoffs. Not going to be at all surprised if the Cardinals somehow win this game and then we see the playoff format change because of that, for the MLB to cater to the Dodgers. But Dodgers favorites in this game, so I did them money line. Corey Seager to drive in a run. He's been one of the Dodgers' better, more hot hitters coming down the stretch here. Justin Turner seems like he always comes up big in the playoffs, so for him to have just 1 hit, like I said, $10 wins you 41.60. But you are riding with the Cardinals tonight.
The dogs are barking. I can hear it. Cardinals
Nick
money line.
Mike back. He'll be back.
It's a long shot for the Cardinals to win, in my opinion, just because it's Wainwright versus Scherzer. But I mean, I just feel like there's so much value with the Cardinals tonight.
Yeah, you got them at plus 200.
Yeah, like you said, they were the hottest team in baseball coming down the stretch. Wainwright, is going to be Wainwright, but it's Max Scherzer on the other end. Like you said, that dude is a nutcase. Like he is a nutcase. 1
through 8, the Dodgers are just no one can stack up with them. I mean, They had no reason to go and get Max Scherzer and Trey Turner, and they just did it anyway, just because.
And Trey Turner was a throw-in. They're like, here, take him.
take the guy that's going to end up leading the league in batting average.
Yeah.
But so Max Muncy is out for the Dodgers, so that's something. But they can just turn to another guy, Matt Beatty, who was at one point one of the top prospects in that organization. Like, it's ridiculous what this team can do. They're hitting, and granted, Bellinger did have a bad year, but he's hitting 8th, which just seems crazy, just a couple years removed from winning NL MVP. He just seems like a guy that's primed for a big playoffs after a disappointing regular season. But anyway, enough about this game. We can move on to talk about what we normally talk about. I know that you got something that you want to talk about with this game, a little player prop. I'll tell you what I'm riding with first here, because I actually have a parlay for this game. I normally just talk about either the spread or the points. However, I'm going Rams minus 2.5, Darrell Henderson over 64.5 rushing, Russell Wilson over 268.5 passing, and Tyler Higbee alternate yardage over 25. $25 on that wins you 150-30. Now, the reason that I'm feeling really good about this, Henderson absolutely ate last week. Sony Michel only took 3 touches away from him. Henderson clearly the lead back when he's healthy. He looked better than I expected that he would, just 1 week removed from that rib injury. Seattle defense, we're going to talk about this a lot, especially with your prop that you have as well. I'm just not a believer on that side of the football. And for that reason, I think that Russell Wilson's going to be throwing the ball a lot. That plus Chris Carson with a neck injury, I don't think that he's going to play. He hasn't been rolled out yet, but I'm expecting Seattle to have to throw the ball to, 1, keep up with the Rams. 2, they're not going to have much of a rushing game. And then with the Higbee prop, pretty safe. I alternated it down to just over 25 as opposed to, I think, like the normal number was around 40 or something like that. Seattle is very bad against tight ends. However, part of me is just worried that if Higbee doesn't do something early in this game, he won't at all, because I expect the Rams are going to cover this. I honestly, I almost alternated the points to end up being the Rams winning by like double digits here. Like that's how good I feel about the Rams tomorrow night. The Rams coming off that loss to Arizona, not a believer in Seattle's defense, and without Chris Carson, I think that this is going to be a good amount of points in this game. The over-under set at 54.5, by the way, but I do think that the Rams win this one pretty handily.
Yeah, I do have 2 props. I also have the Rams minus 2.5, regardless. I mean, I just don't see them be able to score with the Rams. Stafford is playing at an MVP level so far this year. Russ is going to be running for his life. He's going to be without Carson, or if Carson plays, he has
a neck injury. Well,
yeah,
see, look at last week too. In that game, we saw Alex Collins get a majority of the work, and we were like, "What the heck's going on here?"
Yeah.
But now it makes sense because he was dealing with this neck injury beforehand. But yeah, go ahead.
Then I have 2 props. One, this is electric. If you guys want to join me, you can. First drive result, punt, plus 105. If you want to get risky,
I can't believe you get plus on that. That's crazy.
Actually, every option is plus money. Like punt is plus 105, offensive touchdown is 230, field goal attempt is plus 400, and any other is plus 650. So I'm hoping the Seahawks get the ball first. Then the Rams just get a stop, and there's a plus money hit right there.
I would definitely feel better about that if Seattle had the ball.
Yeah, exactly. Then my other one is anytime touchdown scorer Deshaun Jackson.
Okay. Yeah, we were talking about it. I mean, you can give your reasoning there, but yeah, for anybody that goes in there and looks, you're going to see that you're not getting great odds on a lot of these guys.
Yeah, it looks like they're expecting it to be a shootout because the highest one that I was going to do that I was hoping wasn't plus money was DK Metcalf, but he's minus 120. Cooper's minus 135. Like Cooper Kupp, so I don't know. I just feel like Deshaun Jackson is nice little number at plus 360. Seahawks defense is not good. Stafford might want to air the ball out, and he's hit Jackson on a couple of them this year. I was trying to one touchdown. I think I could be wrong on that.
That was against Tampa, right?
Yeah,
was it against Tampa that he burned them for that long one?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. So, I mean, it's worth a shot. Let's see if there's anything else in there, but I'm pretty sure that's it. I mean,
no, I like
Robert
that.
Woods is plus 125.
Really?
Yeah.
He only he saw a little bit more usage last week. Kind of had like a garbage time touchdown with them getting blown out a little bit by the Cardinals, which surprised me, by the way.
Yeah, me too.
But his usage has been nowhere near Cooper Kupp's. Like it's crazy because Stafford and Woods was like the preseason connection everybody was talking about, and then we come into the year and it's been Cooper Kupp show. I mean, maybe it continues to trend to a direction where it kind of evens out and Robert Woods becomes the guy that we expected him to be, but. Yeah, at least for right now, while we wait on that breakout, you can still get plus money odds on anytime touchdown. So I don't think that that's a bad dart throw either. However, I will say anytime that I'm doing anytime touchdown, I'm probably including them as part of a same game parlay. Yeah. So especially with the guys that are negative money, it really just it doesn't make sense for me to bet it on its own. Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm sorry, but kicking off with the Falcons and Jets, I'll tell you guys right now, I can't talk about this game yet. What's coming up later in the show. You're going to be a little bit surprised by this, but the Jets are part of something bigger here for me.
Okay.
So Falcons are favored by 3 and the points 46.5.
God. I mean, I'm not touching this game. Both teams are 1-3. The Jets screwed me on 2 parlays last week.
But it was good for them though.
Oh, it was great for them. I just had a bad feeling. I was texting Drew about this Sunday night, and I'm like, man, I had a weird feeling about this game because the Titans last week were without 2 receivers. I'm just like, they're going to give it to Derrick Henry, and Derrick Henry's going to get him to a win.
Yeah, I thought the same thing. I was like, whatever his rushing prop is, man, you got to as long as it's under
I have him in a fantasy league. He had 35 touches.
Yeah,
and I'm like, Jesus, my God. Give the man a break, but
okay. So next game is going to be Carolina minus 3.5 over the Eagles, and the points is 44.5. I do have Carolina covering this minus 3.5. I think Philadelphia stinks. I think that week 1 against Atlanta, a lot of people bought into them beating up, scoring almost 40 on another bad team. I think that Philadelphia top to bottom is one of the worst rosters in football. I'm not a believer in Jalen Hurts if it's not from a fantasy perspective. I think as a real-life quarterback, he's not very good. I don't think that there's much there to really go on with the defense. Javon Hargrave's a beast. Fletcher Cox is a beast. Darius Slay his best days are behind him, but he's still an okay football player. Beyond that, there's really not much to write home about with this football team. Carolina's coming off of a loss versus Dallas. I think that they're going to be rejuvenated. They could potentially be getting Christian McCaffrey back as well. That's really not even playing into this decision for me. Yeah. But I think that Carolina covers this with or without Christian McCaffrey.
Yeah, I mean, I have the Panthers minus 3.5 as well. They looked really good last week against Dallas. I pretty much watched the whole game. Darnold finally has weapons. He looks legit. That defense was incredible. And they lose J.C. Horn, and they go out and get Stephon Gilmore for a 6th-round pick. I mean,
after they had already gotten C.J. Henderson.
Yeah, like they have the best defense in the league right now. And it looks like the ownership is trying to get them to win now. That offense is crazy. Now the defense is elite. I just think that they cover this no problem. I wouldn't be surprised if they win by 10 plus.
They got Robbie Anderson more involved last week, like I said they wanted to. Really, the question is in the middle of that defense. Shaq Thompson has a plantar fasciitis. Shout out to Joe Madden injury. So we'll see what happens there. He's obviously probably going to miss time with that, I would assume. Just don't know how much time. But, I like them to cover this. This one's interesting for me. Tampa Bay minus 10 against Miami. The points is 47.5. I'm not touching this. However, I'm almost inclined to pick Miami to cover 10. I'm not going to. But if I were betting on this game, here's the thing. Tampa Bay, not a great performance up in Foxborough. I know that the weather wasn't great, and there's other factors, non-football factors playing into that as well. Just the emotions of the game, if you will. However, Brian Flores knows Tom Brady pretty well as well. I'm not a believer in the Miami offense, but I still like what Miami's got going on defensively. I still like Brian Flores as a head coach. 10 points is a lot at Miami. I'm not touching this, but if I were, I'm just saying that that's the direction that I would go is Miami covering.
Now, is Tua back?
No. I think it's going to be another – I think they said it's at least another week.
I mean, I'm not touching it anyway. But if Tua was back, I mean,
also Jacoby Brissett knows the Patriots too.
Yeah,
I mean, there's a lot of
that's just a lot of points, and I think the line opened up at 7.5. Let's see.
I said knows the Patriots, but I meant Tom Brady.
Yeah.
See, that's how intertwined they are.
Yeah, the line opened up at 7.5. Now it's at 10. So
yeah, I don't like it.
Yeah, I'm not touching it either.
New Orleans is 2.5-point favorites against the Washington football team. The points in this game are 44.5. This is another one that I'm not touching. However, there's somebody that I follow on Twitter. Shout out to my boy Steve, who's a Washington football team fan. However, he's not like biased. He's not always like Washington betting Washington. He actually fully 100% believes Washington gets a win this week as underdogs against the Saints. I am not betting this. However, that dude's won a lot of money sports betting, and he's got Washington money line in this game.
I mean, it's really nothing too crazy. I mean, last week the Saints blew the game to the Giants.
In Washington, it's against Atlanta. They did win. They put up over 30 points.
Yeah, I mean, it's nothing too crazy because we don't even know what Jameis is. Like, Jameis looks great week 1, then stinks week 2. I don't know what he did last week because I didn't watch the game because I benched him in fantasy for Stafford. So.
Oh. Yeah.
Yeah. So
you mean in that game against the Giants?
Yeah. I don't know what his numbers were.
He was pretty pedestrian. 17 of 23 for 226 and a touchdown.
Yeah, and like Taysom Hill had like 2 touchdowns. Like what is
that's
this?
That's the thing. Like, do you? That's not going to be a weekly thing, though.
Yeah. Yeah. They're just such a hard team to like. I don't even know what the Saints are right now.
Yeah. It's really like Alvin Kamara is the only playable guy on that roster.
Yeah, I mean, I do have the Saints money line. I don't have them covering, but I do have
Okay.
a money line.
Uh, this one's interesting just because of everything surrounding both teams. Tennessee 4.5-point favorites against Jacksonville, with a 48.5 total points here. There is a lot of stuff going on with the Jacksonville Jaguars that has nothing to do with football. Tennessee is very banged up. We just saw them lose to the Jets. This is one, again, I feel like this is getting pretty boring. Don't worry, my picks are going to be coming up here. We're going to go in a little bit of a run where I am touching games, but this is another one that I'm not willing to touch. I don't know what's going on with A.J. Brown, what's going on with Julio. I don't know what's going on with the entire Jaguars organization. But on the Titans side of things, they're just not healthy enough for me to bet on them to cover this. I mean, they just lost to the Jets, the goddamn Jets.
Yeah, I mean, just going to make it plain and simple. Jaguars plus 4.5.
Okay. All right. I was hoping you'd go Jags money line, but
Jags plus 4.5. I mean, you can do money line if you're feeling risky. They should have won last week. They blew the game in Cincy. I don't even know why they lost.
14-0 lead. That's tough.
Trevor Lawrence was looking great, and I don't know what happened. Good, yeah. I don't know what happened, but like you said, the Titans are banged up. I don't know. It's just I feel like everyone's going to hammer the Titans, and it's going to be like a situation like the Bucs last Sunday, and like the Cowboys week 1. Everyone's on one side, and then here comes the Jags. Will probably lead and then end up losing by 3. But I think they cover the 4.5. They might even get their first win this week.
It's much needed for everything about that organization that's going on right now. Minnesota 8.5-point favorites, 49.5 the total. This is over the Lions, by the way. I've just for some reason I think I forgot to say that, but yeah, Minnesota 8.5-point favorites over the Lions. I'm going Detroit to cover this 8.5, and here's why: Minnesota. Dalvin Cook is not 100%. He's playing through it, but he's not 100%. Their offense looked dreadful after that first drive against Cleveland. Now, Cleveland is obviously a much better defense. We talked about it last week. We expected Detroit to put up a better fight, if not win, against the Bears. Instead, they lose by 10.
Yeah.
But I think that this is not necessarily the week where Detroit wins, but 8.5, man. There's no reason, based off what Minnesota looked like last week against the Browns, there's no reason they should be 8.5-point favorites. Especially, I think that this game's in Detroit.
I don't think they should in Minnesota.
Oh, okay, actually. Never mind. Okay, but still, they should not be 8.5-point favorites over anybody right now.
I do agree with that. I'm not betting the game, but I mean, if you look at like the history of like the Detroit games lately, like Bears, they lost by 10. Baltimore, they should have beat Baltimore.
Yes, yeah.
You know, they only lost by 2 there. They kept it close with Green Bay. You know, they were scoring with San Fran.
That's So it was weird. That's why like I felt that like they were going to beat Chicago is because they had a good half of football in week 1, the second half. They had a good half of football in week 2, the first half. They should have beat the Ravens in week 3. So week 4 I was like, okay, they're going to beat Chicago. Justin Fields absolutely lit them up though, which is great to see from that standpoint. But yeah, that it's kind of disappointing. But at the same time, like I still feel like the Lions are not good. However, they're a scrappy bunch. And I do not see Minnesota covering this.
Yep, I don't see them. It's what, 8.5, right?
Yeah, right.
Yeah, I just don't see it.
Donnie said I'm on an absolute cold streak for college. I need a lock.
Okay.
Well,
I might have a couple.
We might have a couple. I've definitely been doing better in the world of college football than the NFL.
Yeah.
So, here we go. Steelers. By the way, this is the lowest total, tied for the lowest total of the week. Steelers at home against Denver. This has changed slightly from the opening line. Steelers are actually favored by 1.5 against Denver, coming to Heinz Field. 39.5 the total. Are you kidding me? That's tied with New England and Houston for the lowest total this week. But how can we argue it? We've seen the Steelers offense. I mean, this is where my Steelers fandom is going to shine through in this thing as opposed to just being a betting show. But this last game against Green Bay was the first time where I felt like Ben has been part of the problem the entire season, but it was the first week where I felt like it was primarily Ben. Before that, I felt like it was the offensive line in the scheme. Last week, when he had time to throw, Even when his receivers were creating separation, they even established a little bit of a run game. The dude was just missing wide open
He
receivers
missed
down the
Juju
field.
twice.
I mean, so there's just nothing going right for this offense right now. And why should we believe that they're going to be able to change that this week against a Denver defense that's played pretty well throughout the entire season? Now, they are going to be without probably Teddy Bridgewater. He's been around the team, but he hasn't practiced yet, going through concussion protocol. As we sit here today, I'm going to assume that it's going to be Drew Lock for the Broncos. That could change by Sunday. But as we sit here right now with the information we have, it's Drew Lock that's expected to play.
Dude, I mean, I hate this game. I hate the teams. I just hate them both. I just hate everything about this. But I will say this. If Drew Lock plays, I think this is the only situation that you could say Steelers money line.
Okay.
Because the offense looked somewhat better, I guess.
Everything besides the quarterback looked better.
Yeah, everything besides the quarterback, the most important position, looked better, somewhat at least. As long as they don't do a check down on 4th and 4 way before the sticks. I mean, I don't know. I mean, the Steelers just look bad, but Locke is probably worse.
Someone renew his subscription.
Yeah,
I don't bet on.
Yeah, I know you don't bet, but last week the under was 52.5 and it hit. And now this week it's what, 39?
39.5. That's why I'm inclined. That's such a low total. Like almost, if I were to touch it, I would just bet on this for some reason being the week that the offense wakes up. Just because of how low the total is, but I'm not going to do it. The only thing that I'll do with this game is some player props, which we don't have the information for yet. So you'll have to stay tuned on that. This game is very interesting to me because of the way that the Bengals are playing. Green Bay is 3-point favorites against Cincy. 51.5 points is the total here. I do not have anything on this game, but with the way that Cincinnati has looked this year, they look much improved. Green Bay did not impress me in this game against the Steelers, by the way.
No. And Alexander's hurt, right?
He is.
So, I mean, Burrows looked fantastic.
AFC Player of the Week, rating Offensive Player of the Week.
I mean, he's looked fantastic. I mean, I hate the Bengals, but Burrows looked great.
There's something there, I think. If you wanted to, I did not include them as this week's upset parlay, by the way. I have used Cincinnati twice already, by the way, for these, but I wasn't doing it a third week against Green Bay. If you were making me pick, I would pick Green Bay to win this game, but I'm not even confident enough with it at just -3, to pick them to cover that.
Yeah, because it's in Cincy, right? It's not in Green Bay?
Good question. It is in Cincy.
I think it'll be close. I wouldn't trust the spread, but I would do Green Bay money line.
There we go. Okay, New England -8.5 against Houston. 39.5 points is the total. It's hard not to pick anybody covering against Houston right now. That massive spread last week with the Bills.
Yeah, dude. It was 17.5, and I'm like, there's no way they cover this. And they won by 40.
Yeah.
Mills stinks. He is terrible.
I know. Listen, I actually thought, watching him back at Stanford, I thought that there was actually something there with him. He should not have come out this year. I don't know what he was thinking. He could have stayed in school another year and been part of a worse, I'm putting that in quotes, by the way, QB class, what we expect it to be at least. But for whatever reason, decides to come out this year after just starting 11 games in his collegiate career. And now he shouldn't be playing right now. He shouldn't be playing right now, but he
passed for 97 yards last week. He threw 30 passes.
When he's in garbage time the whole game.
Yeah.
It's bad. So I'm not don't get me wrong, I don't think New England's offense is that great, but 8.5, I'll pick anybody to cover less than double digits against them right now.
Because the Texans have showed you absolutely nothing. They'd be
so,
okay, maybe they can cover this. No.
New England -8.5 here for me.
Yep, same here.
Vegas -5.5 point favorites against the Bears. 44.5 points is the total here. I don't have anything on this game. The Vegas coming off their first loss of the year to the Chargers. The Bears coming off their first win against the Lions. And also Justin Fields officially the starting quarterback going forward for the Bears. Do you have anything on this game right now?
Bears plus 5.5.
Okay. There we go.
They look so much better with Fields. Like, I think I said that week 1. Like, I don't know why Fields wasn't starting from the get-go.
Mm-hmm.
You know, outside of that terrible play calling against the Browns. Like, I think it was the Browns. Yeah, because Myles Garrett had like 13 sacks against him. You know, like he was just living in the backfield. I think this is going to be high scoring though. So I think it's like a garbage time cover, you know, but I think the Raiders win. I just think the Bears keep it close.
Okay, Chargers and Browns. I will let you take this one because I got something else later.
I mean, we might as well skip it because we're on the same.
Really? Okay, yeah. Chargers are minus 1.5 point favorites here. 46.5 is the total. We'll talk about it once we wrap up the rest of this. Then Dallas minus 7 against the Giants, 52.5 points. I got Dallas covering 7, and I know that the Giants did beat the Saints last week. I know that Daniel Jones has actually had a pretty decent season, to be honest with you. He's not turning the football over. He's actually, you know, been okay. Same with Andrew Thomas. Saquon Barkley is slowly but surely getting back to his normal usage. The Giants, they somehow, though, still just look so dysfunctional. Sterling Shepard and Darius Slayton, once again, are going to be out. Kadarius Toney had a pretty solid debut. We'll see how they continue to use him. But Dallas's offense and defense, man, like, see ya, Jalen Smith. They don't need you. Trayvon Diggs is a stud. Right now, he's got to be a favorite for Defensive Player of the Year. He's definitely going to be a Pro Bowler, make his first All-Pro team. It's just stupid. And they're doing it right now. They did it last week without CeeDee Lamb doing anything. 2 catches for 13 yards.
They look good, man. They look real good. Actually, in every game this year so far, Dallas has covered the spread.
There we go.
They are 4-0 against the spread. Week 1, obviously, they lost, but they covered the 8.5 or whatever the spread was. I can't remember.
Yeah.
So, I mean, it's hard to not pick Dallas to cover this.
Mm-hmm.
You know, Dak looks amazing. Doesn't look like he's slowing down. Zeke's starting to run the ball better now.
Yep.
So, yeah, I just don't see
comeback player of the year, Dak Prescott.
Yeah, like that was just a given. Like if you didn't throw anything on that, like shame on you.
The only one, and he did have a crazy week 1. Chandler Jones.
Yeah,
I was worried about too. And speaking of Chandler Jones, Arizona 5.5 point favorites against San Fran. 50.5 points is the total here. So I'm going over 50.5 here, with the caveat. I got an asterisk by this, that Jimmy Garoppolo is out, and it's Trey Lance starting at quarterback for the Niners, because I think that their offense is that much more explosive. And if that's the case, and this is a traditional shootout, I definitely see this going over 50.5.
Yeah, I'm on the same thing, really. I mean, I'm not touching this game in general, but if Trey Lance plays, I mean, it's just going to be scoring. There it is. Jimmy G is just
horrible. The Steelers' next quarterback. What did you say?
I mean, he's just bad. It's kind of the same thing like with the Bears. Like the Bears got Fields, didn't play him at first.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so that's fine. Whatever. I think you guys said this on around the 412's fantasy show yesterday. Like they'll go down. Like Jimmy G will get them into the red zone, and then they bring in Lance.
Yeah.
Like, okay, so Jimmy G can't get you the touchdown then. So why are you playing him?
Yeah, he's like a quarterback between the 20s. Yeah.
Yeah. It just makes no sense. Just play Lance. Just play him.
You're going to love this. You're going to be surprised by this.
Okay.
Kansas City, 3-point favorites over Buffalo. 56.5 points is the total. And I can't give you my pick on it yet.
Oh, my God. All right. You're betting against Mahomes? Come on.
What do you got on this?
KC, you're
taking them -3?
Yeah.
Okay. All right.
You can't bet against the young GOAT.
Well, he's lost twice this year already. So, Baltimore -7 against the Colts on Monday Night Football. 46.5 points is the total. I got nothing on this one.
I like the over.
I just, 46.5. That's not bad if I were going to bet on it. Indy finally did get their first win against Miami last week.
About time.
Baltimore, though, with like their style of play, it's just so hard for me to convince myself to pick them to cover.
Yeah. It's so dumb that it works, man. It is just so dumb that it works. It's pathetic. But,
okay.
I mean, yeah, over.
Now,
Okay.
here it comes. Here it comes. Smitty's upset parlay of the week. This did not hit last week, by the way, so I shouldn't have broke out my hammer. I don't know why I did that because it didn't work last week.
Hey, it hit the week before that.
It did. It did. So, Jets over Falcons. I liked what I saw from Zach Wilson last week. I thought that he took some huge strides, especially in that second half. That throw to Corey Davis for the touchdown was one of the better throws. Yeah, it was one of the better throws in the entire league this year. Cleveland over the Chargers. And finally, Buffalo over KC on Sunday Night Football. Putting a little 15er on this.
Okay.
Win you $152.82 if those three teams all win.
Okay.
Now, obviously, Buffalo is the one that I feel the least confident in. But
that's fair.
If, think about it. The Chargers, Justin Herbert exercising his demons. Lamar exercising his demons against Mahomes. This is the year that people and teams are exercising their demons against the Kansas City Chiefs. Why not Josh Allen and the Bills getting revenge for that AFC Championship loss last year?
Yeah, I mean it's not like it's like something crazy. I'm just already on KC, so screw Buffalo.
Yeah, it is very hard to bet against Mahomes, but I just feel like this is the time to do it if you're going to do it. Actually, I'd probably feel a little better if they had one less loss because this Kansas City really already don't lose 3 games in the season. But my line of thinking is, like I said, there's already been a couple teams that have gotten over that hump this year with the way Buffalo's played since that opening loss to the Steelers. They're the hottest team in the AFC. I just feel like if there's a time when it's going to happen, it's right here, Sunday Night Football. We'll see. We will see Josh Gordon, by the way, for the Chiefs. We should see him make his debut in this football game.
That dude is bring back Mark Davis now.
I know you also have a parlay in the NFL. This is the Platts Picks exclusive parlay. So this is one, everybody that watches this show, what this means is you have to make this bet. No, I'm just kidding.
So
but you can fade us, you can tail us, let us know if you're riding with us on this one, though.
I'm on KC Moneyline. Do not bet against Mahomes.
Okay.
Like, it's either going to screw you or you're going to look like a genius.
Mm-hmm.
So we'll find out next week. Panthers money line, just like before, I don't see the Eagles keeping it close. You know, that D-line's going to get after him. Get after Hurts, that is. I like the Packers money line. Don't bet against Rodgers. It's just the same thing. All he needed was, what was that, 22 seconds, whatever it was, against who was that? Against the Niners. Yeah, with no timeouts, no other quarterback's doing that. And then the last of it is Saints money line. I know your buddy, but he's going to be wrong, so it don't matter. It's plus 710. Those 4 teams.
I like those odds, though. I really like those odds for those 4 games because I think that, I mean, those are all favorites, right? Are those teams all favored in their games?
They're all favorites. Yep.
Yeah, what's funny is I'm going to put money on that and also put money on this upset parlay where I have Buffalo winning. So either way, I mean, I just hope that one of these hit. But yeah, I like that. We'll put that out there for you guys. Of course, follow Ryan's action because you'll see that he put that in there as well. I'm sure that he'll put it on his Twitter though too, as the Platts Picks Pod exclusive parlay bet. That was fun to say.
It was.
Now, Donnie said he needs an absolute lock this week because of his cold streak that he's on for college football. So let's talk the college football slate now. I got some interesting ones here, and I'm going to start actually with my 2-team parlay upset pick. Now, I have a 3-team upset parlay thing that I do in the NFL. With college football, I've been looking for little 2-teamers. This is what I'm rolling with this week, and I feel like you're going to disagree with one of these. So I'm very pissed off at Baylor football. So I'm going West Virginia money line over Baylor, and I'm adding to that with a team that I absolutely despise. But this week, it's happening. I think that they're legit. Still not necessarily a huge believer in the quarterback. Penn State money line over Iowa.
Brother.
$20 wins you 66 just with those two teams winning.
Oh my god!
I took a look at your action. I think that you have Iowa to bet, so that's why I said
I do. Real quick, that Baylor pick last week, dude, they were in it the whole game. Just their offense couldn't do anything, like anything, and they had the chance at the end, and they the play calling
and their run
terrible.
game has been good. Like this year,
Yeah.
like they have like that two-headed monster running back.
Yeah.
And
just made no sense to me. I mean, and then I put on my action. I had Auburn money line too. They came back and won.
Yeah, LSU. That's why I was looking at Auburn this week, and I also was looking at LSU this week, trying to figure out if I should do anything with their two games, and I decided not to. But was interested in both those. But okay, what's one of your? Well, okay, so talk about your Iowa pick, I guess, first, since I brought that game up.
Iowa, I mean, it's kind of the same situation. They play good defense, same as Penn State.
Yeah,
their quarterback situation kind of stinks.
Yeah, they're like almost 200th in the
Yeah.
country in offense, but they're like number 3 in defense.
Yeah, they're both 5-0. Iowa's pretty good at home. I'm just gonna go with Iowa. I mean, let's see. The spread. I mean, they've covered the spread. They're 4-1 this year. Covering the spread. They play really good at home. Not like Penn State's not a good football team. They've looked fantastic. I'm just going to go with Iowa this week.
Okay. Yeah, I mean, it's tough because, like I said, I'm not necessarily a believer in Sean Clay. I think this is going to be a very low-scoring game. If you're into defense, this is definitely one that you want to tune into, not just for the fact that it's number 3 versus number 4, but also this is just going to be a back and forth. If you love punting,
the over-under is 41.
And that this for a college game, that's very low. We're not talking the NFL here with a 41 point. Like you're gonna see a lot of totals in college football in like the 70s and stuff.
Yeah,
and we're talking 40,
like that Alabama last week was 80.
Yeah. So another pick that I like, actually sticking in the Big Ten, Michigan State and Rutgers to go over 49.5.
I like that. I actually have Michigan State minus 5.5.
Okay. Yeah, I like Michigan State to win the game.
They look
I just
good.
think there should be a good amount of points stored in this.
Yeah, they scored a ton last week. I forgot if they played. They weren't good, but I know they scored like 42 in the first half. Let's see, who did they play last week? Oh, it was Western Kentucky.
Yeah, Michigan State on their own is averaging 37.8 points per game. So, and even Rutgers is averaging close to 30. So
yeah, let's see. So right here, yeah, it's pretty much the same. Yeah. So two high scoring offenses, and that total actually seems kind of low for that.
Yeah.
So I agree.
All right, what's another one you got?
I have here. Let's go with this one. This is in the Georgia and Auburn game.
Okay.
Under 46.5. Georgia,
yeah. Dude, if it's gonna go over that, Georgia would have to score like 40.
Georgia has allowed 23 points the whole college football season so far.
Stupid.
I know that we said we were going to talk about futures later, but we're going to put this on record. Georgia's winning the national title.
Wow.
I think they can beat Bama.
I want to see that happen, by the way. I want to see that game take place.
Me too. Georgia has the best defense. Like that game last week, I thought Arkansas was going to cover. I was an idiot. Georgia didn't let them do anything. Like it was crazy.
They had them in a box.
Defense they have. Yeah. Yeah.
They had them in a small phone booth.
It's crazy. But like I said, the 46.5, the only way that really goes over is if Georgia scores like 50.
Yeah. Yeah, that's what I said. They're going to have to do the heavy lifting if that's going to go over. I didn't have that on here, but I do like that. Wake Forest and Syracuse. I like Wake to cover that 5.5 against Syracuse. I think Wake they become a very popular pick in the ACC. A lot of people are talking about a potential matchup between them and Pitt in the ACC championship game. Wake Forest looked pretty good. I've seen people on both sides of this coin, meaning that I see a lot of people saying Syracuse covering 5.5. I just don't see it. I'm a believer in Wake this year.
Yeah, we're actually on opposite sides on this one.
There we go. See, I've seen people on both sides of this.
Yeah, I mean, the spread this year, Syracuse is 4-1 against the spread this year. And they've looked better. They had that crazy game last week against Florida State.
Mm-hmm.
That was back and forth. Wake Forest has looked good though, but I just feel like it's at 6 now. I just feel like that's a little. That's just too much points.
What did you say? Syracuse is undefeated against the spread, or they have one loss against the spread?
They have one loss against the spread.
I was just saying because they lost week 2 to Rutgers by 10. I'm assuming that's the loss against the spread.
Yeah. Let's see. Yep. Yeah, because the spread was 2, and they lost. They covered against Florida State, covered against Liberty, covered against Albany, and they covered against Ohio.
Yeah, I'm just looking at their schedule, and really the only impressive thing about that is probably the 3-point loss to Florida State, covering that. Yeah. I think that Wake Forest is a better team than anybody that they've played yet by a good margin. And I wish that these were flip-flopped these weeks. I wish that they were playing Clemson this week to get like a true litmus test as to where Syracuse is at.
Yeah.
But yeah, we'll see what happens. But I'm not upset about us being on opposite sides of this because once again, hey, one of us is going to win.
One of us is going to win, yeah.
All right, so what's another one you got then?
Virginia Tech money line against Notre Dame.
Oh, is Mike in Illinois listening?
It's actually a pick 'em right now, actually. Virginia Tech, everyone knows how good they are at home.
Yeah.
Notre Dame, I mean, if they play their backup, he's better than the starter. They were getting killed by Cincinnati, and then they ended up losing by what last week? 11, I think it was. But they were getting killed. Like, they were down like 24-0 the whole game. Like, they couldn't do anything. I just think that Virginia Tech at home, it's gonna be super close. But I feel like they pull it out.
I'm glad you mentioned the quarterback thing because I think that Cone stinks.
That's his name. He is terrible.
Jack Cone, I thought he was bad at Wisconsin, then he transferred, obviously, and I'm not a believer in his. I think that they'd be better off with the other. I can't even think of who the other quarterback is now. I can't think of what his name is, but he's come in and actually looked more impressive to me. So, and then my last bet that I got here that I'll talk about. Shout out to Weiler Teeks. I'm going BYU minus 5.5 against Boise. Boise's already lost 3 games this year. I'm surprised that this line isn't bigger, but 5.5 for a BYU team now in the top 10. I like this for them to cover.
That dude has got me into, like, I'm now up late watching BYU games. Like, it's just crazy.
This is at 6 now, by the way. It's already starting to move a little bit.
Okay, yeah, because when I was looking earlier, it was at 5. I guess now it's at 6. Yeah, I can see it. I mean, who did Boise State lose to?
They've
lost Nevada,
UCF week 1,
and they lost Oklahoma State by 1.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I think BYU should kill them. I feel like
they have. It's just such a weird sketch. Like it's hard to figure out exactly where Boise's at because like losing to UCF, obviously they're 2-2. Like it's not the same UCF that a couple years ago. But then they blow out UTEP, which they should. Lose to Oklahoma State by just 1, who's undefeated. Then they beat Utah State like they should, and then they lose to Nevada, who's 3-1 and has a top prospect at the quarterback position. So it's hard to figure out what this Boise State team is. It's just BYU's a top 10 team. Boise State already has 3 losses this year. That's too low of a line for me to not bet on. I like BYU to cover this.
Yeah. Now I didn't tell you about this. It's already on my action. I don't know if you saw it. I have a 2-team parlay for college football.
Okay. One
of the games is on Friday. And then one is Saturday night. The first one Friday, we're gonna go Charlotte Moneyline.
Alex Highsmith.
Shout out to Alex Highsmith. They're playing FIU Friday night.
Okay.
And then the other one is Michigan against Nebraska. It's just odds are plus 150. It will give you some more money for the NFL. I just really like this parlay. I wish Michigan was playing sooner. so you don't have to wait a whole 24 hours for that Michigan. But I didn't like anything else on Friday night. But that's just a small little 2-teamer.
I like it. I like it. Do you have anything else? Because I'm done. I only got that little
that's
2-team
it.
parlay and 3 little.
That's it for now. I'll wait till some of the player props come out because Mike from Illinois last week, I think he hit his big boy $250 same game parlay. So if you're not following him, you have to because he posts everything.
Yeah, and he's also on Action now as well.
He is.
He signed up after he made his appearance on this show.
Yeah, because he followed me right after. Like as soon as we got off, he was like, "Is this it?" I'm like, "Yeah."
So you can follow him, Mike_in_Illinois on Action, or you can follow his Twitter. It's the exact same thing. But yeah, he posts his bets there. It doesn't look like he has any action for me to look at right now and say what he's planning on doing here. But yeah. If we have anything else, you guys will obviously see it on our Twitter accounts or on our Action accounts, so be sure to follow us. Ryan has his Twitter accounts actually up on the screen right now at Ryan24_34 and at Platt Picks. You can follow me at Zachary Smith 412. You can follow me on Action if you guys have that. If you don't, I don't know why you don't. If you're watching this show, you absolutely should. Smitty 412 is mine. Ryan, what is yours again?
It's just R Platt.
Okay.
I'm pretty sure.
But anyway, it's a great way to track your bets and track other people's bets. You can follow people on there and see what they're doing. Also, not just us, but you can follow people that literally like do this for a living. Like some of the guys that I found on there, like it shows that they're up like hundreds and hundreds of units, which is ridiculous.
Yeah.
That's kind of where I actually drew the inspiration for that MLB, the little MLB thing I'm running tonight. So
okay.
But yeah, like Ryan said, the only thing really that like we haven't touched on there's always the chance that I'll end up throwing money on some games that I haven't talked about on here.
I forgot something.
Yes.
If you're in Pennsylvania or Iowa.
Oh, yeah.
I totally forgot about this because I didn't know we didn't touch on it. It's free money right now on FanDuel. It's Penn State plus 60. 25 to win 50. The max bet is 25. Mm-hmm. Actually, it's at 69.5 now. So, I mean, they're just giving money away. So, I mean, if you're in Pennsylvania or you're in Iowa, just put $25 down on it. You can win 50. That gives you more money for NFL Sunday. And if you don't, I don't know why, because it's free. Like, there's nothing. Right. You don't have to sweat this bet out or nothing.
It's great that it's on Saturday too, because like you said, then you have that money to play with on Sunday. So. Free money. Everybody get in on it as long as you're able to place that bet. I love when they do the spread the love bets.
Me too.
But I think that about wraps it up. So once again, just be sure you're following us. The only thing that we'll put out that we haven't really touched on is whatever player props we decide to do. I got burned last week by a lot of them by literally one thing. So hopefully this is going to be a better week for me. Maybe I need to stick to doing less legs on parlays. Maybe that's what it is.
Maybe.
Because I'm calling like a lot of individual things, but the problem is I'm including those in parlays. I'm missing like one thing. Like last week, right? Michigan Moneyline. Pitt over on points. Florida loses to Kentucky.
Idiots. Yeah.
So like I lose that, even though I called 2 out of 3 things. So, some of these bets I need to just be placing as individual bets if I feel really good about them. And that's been my problem. But we'll get better. We'll learn from it. We'll move forward. Be sure you're following us. If you're new, subscribe to the channel. Leave us a like. Leave us a comment. Be sure to hit that notification bell so you know when we go live or post a new video. Other than that, it's been Platt. It's been Smitty. We'll talk to you next week. Good luck this weekend. Bye-bye.